Before we can talk about whether or not the horror genre is morally good or morally bad, we first have to define what it is. And from my experience, this is where most Christians fail. They assume a definition that is intrinsically negative. It goes something like this.
Horror is a genre that glorifies evil. It revels in fear and violence. See? I told you horror was bad.
That definition may be based on ignorance, or it may be a straw man. And though it is true a lot of horror is seeking to simply shock and titillate the audience, that's not a fair summary of what all storytellers are doing that use the horror genre. And the definition seems laughable if you use the same logic on a different genre. Say for instance, romance.
Well, romance is all about sex.
The funny thing is that most Christians enjoy horror stories without even realizing it. What? You think I'm wrong?
Absolutely you're wrong. I've never watched a horror movie or read a horror novel in my life.
Okay, prove it. Raise your hand if you've ever enjoyed the movie Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is typically labeled action or thriller, but that doesn't change the fact that it's packed full of tropes from the horror genre. Don't believe me? Let's play a game.
Okay, the question is, what elements of the horror genre are present in the film Jurassic Park? Go.
Monsters chasing down humans because they want to eat them?
Yes.
Monsters catching humans and eating them?
Yep.
Mad scientists acting out of hubris create the monsters?
Yes.
Scary and prolonged scenes designed to create fear and tension in the audience?
Yep.
Just in case that doesn't convince you, you should know that Jurassic Park is basically a modern retelling of a classic horror novel, Frankenstein. So let me ask you, dear viewer, did you watch Jurassic Park because you like movies that glorify violence and gore? Are you some masochist who enjoys watching people being eaten alive? Do you revel in tales of death and dismemberment? Here's a quote from Mike Duran's fantastic book, Christian Horror. Horror is often unfairly pigeonholed as the gore or slasher variety. Many immediately associate the mention of horror with depictions of serial killers on psychopathic rampages. Such horror should be questioned. Nevertheless, horror tales exist on a broad spectrum. Let's explore this broad spectrum of horror, starting with a book that is a bestseller and full of horror, the Bible.